Incredible journey revealed, Black CEO's touching redemption after shocking car theft accusation. Marcus felt the weight of the world on his shoulders as he drove home one evening, the sunset casting a warm glow over the bustling suburb of Atlanta. He fought hard to build his tech startup from the ground up. Once a kid raised by a single mother, he now stood proud as a CEO. But his heart raced not from business stress, it was from the joy of picking up Lily, his rebellious teenage daughter. They had their challenges. Lily was wrestling with identity and the harsh realities of a world that didn't always accept them. Just that morning, they had shared a laughter-filled breakfast, but now, an unsettling anxiety gripped Marcus. As he parked the car, a chill swept over the neighborhood. Murmurs spread like wildfire, and the faces of his neighbors twisted in judgment. "Heard the news?" someone whispered, barely concealing the disdain. It hit him like an icy splash. Accusations of car theft had taken root, targeted at him, the gentle pillar of the community with a flourishing career. How could this happen? His palms grew clammy when he realized Mr. Thompson, the respected war veteran known for his unwavering dedication to the neighborhood, was at the center of it all. Inside his home, the atmosphere thickened with tension. Lily sat on the couch, the flicker of her phone illuminating her worried face. She felt the shame wash over their family like dark clouds. "Dad, do you think you could really do something like that?" Her voice trembled, a mixture of fear and doubt. It pierced Marcus's heart. "Lily, you know me, I'd never take anything that isn't mine." The truth echoed hollowly in the air. The next days dragged on, trials of public scorn mixed with the bitter taste of betrayal. His friends were more evasive, offering limp excuses instead of warmth. He could see Lily grappling with trust, caught between loyalty to her father and the peers who, influenced by skin-deep biases, whispered behind closed doors. The emotional pain felt rooted and deep. How could they perceive him as a thief? Each passing moment unnerved him as he watched Lily's joy dim, her laughter fading into shadows of uncertainty. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Just as hope flickered, Marcus discovered crucial evidence: camera footage that could untangle the web of lies. But that triumph was undercut by another argument with Lily. "You don't get it, Dad. They will never believe us." Her eyes glowed with frustration. He wanted to hold her close, to share with her the strength found in resilience, but all he felt was distance widening like a chasm. The final confrontation loomed. All the pain, the doubt, and the longing for connection surged to a boiling point. As he prepared to face Mr. Thompson, the atmosphere outside crackled. The community gathered, whispers cascading around him. Would this moment lead to redemption or solidify the division? Emotion hung thick in the air, and he found himself wondering, could understanding bridge the gap of prejudice that had thrust them into chaos? As the world held its breath, Marcus stepped forward, ready to reveal not just the evidence, but his heart. As Marcus stepped into the harsh light of the evening, the anxious murmurs of the crowd swirled around him. He barely registered their faces, familiar yet distorted by suspicion and bias. His heart was a thunderous drum, drowning out the doubts echoing in his mind. Could he clear his name without losing his daughter in the process? "Mr. Thompson," he called out, his voice firm enough to cut through the whispers but shaky enough to betray his nerves. The respected veteran turned, his expression a mix of disbelief and anger. Marcus could see it all written in Mr. Thompson's eyes: the betrayal, the indignation, and perhaps an inkling of fear. Lily moved slightly closer, her hands clenched into fists at her sides. Her youthful anger flickered beneath the surface like a fire waiting to ignite. For a moment, the world around them fell silent, the crowd waiting, hearts in their throats. "Let me show you something," Marcus continued, his breath steadying. He held up his phone, his hands trembling as he unlocked the screen, revealing the footage that could change everything. I found this showing exactly what happened that day. It's not what you think. The tension was palpable as Mr. Thompson stepped forward, eyes narrowed, ready to dismiss him. You expect us to believe you? Believe what you see, Marcus replied, rejuvenated by the small ember of hope. He clicked play. The screen flickered to life, capturing the moment the supposed theft occurred, with clear images of another man in the area, someone who bore a striking resemblance to him. Marcus watched the faces of his neighbors as they began to process the evidence. He could see the confusion melt into recognition, and a few gasps rippled through the crowd. But as quickly as the initial shock set in, doubt surfaced again. Looks staged. Someone shouted, the words hanging in the air like poison. Lily stepped forward with fierce determination, her voice cutting through the chaos. Dad doesn't need to stage anything. He runs a tech company. Why would he waste his time with this? People can change or choose to stand by their prejudices. You have to make a choice, too. The crowd shifted, the murmurs growing more intense, and Marcus felt pride swell in his chest. Lily was fighting for him, a force of nature in the face of a storm. Why are we here? Marcus asked, his gaze sharpening on Mr. Thompson. Is it because of my past, the color of my skin? It should be about trust and truth. Those who know us should stand by us, not flee in fear. Can't we have a conversation instead of accusations? He saw Mr. Thompson's defiance begin to crack. The veteran's eyes softened momentarily, lost in thought. Could they find common ground? Listen, Marcus, Thompson finally said, his voice a whisper of its earlier strength. We need to be better than this, and I was wrong to jump to conclusions. But how can we rebuild trust? That question hung in the air like a low hum, deep, resonant, and full of possibility. For the first time in days, hope flickered in Marcus's chest. Perhaps, just perhaps, this moment was the start of healing, a pathway to understanding. But the crowd was still uncertain, still poised at the edge of judgment. Can we truly open the door to dialogue? Marcus pressed, glancing back at Lily. She stood tall, unwavering, ready to fight for the truth, ready to fight for him. He understood then the work was only beginning, and as the weight of history settled around them, one question lingered in Marcus's mind: was it possible to redefine their community, to weave unity from the threads of division? As silence enveloped them, he silently vowed to find out. The murmurs in the crowd started to fade, but the tension hung thick. Marcus took a deep breath, feeling the weight of all those eyes on him. He had fought for so long to build something, to create a name for himself that stood tall against the shadows of his past. But now? Now it felt as fragile as a house of cards. You were wrong about me, he said, his voice steady but soft, like a thread weaving its way through the crowd. But I stand before you to show you that I am not the man you think I am. Mr. Thompson shifted uncomfortably, glancing between Marcus and the gathered crowd. His brow furrowed, as if he were weighing the cost of his next words. How do we trust you? Mislead us again. The community has been hurt. Marcus nodded, feeling sympathy for the pain etched on Thompson's face. I can't erase the past, but I can show you my truth, he stated. And truth doesn't just come from me, it has to flow from all of us. The crowd remained still, absorbed in the moment as people exchanged hesitant glances. Fear was palpable, but so was curiosity. There was something different in the air, a shift they couldn't ignore. Lily, still standing firmly by her father, took a step forward. What if we all shared our truths? She proposed, her voice stronger, more confident. What if we came together and told our stories? We can learn from each other, heal the wounds that make us suspicious. Marcus felt a swell of emotion as he watched his daughter's determination fuel a flicker of hope in the crowd. Could this young girl be the catalyst for change? Testimony goes both ways, Marcus agreed. Let us have an open forum. Let us invite the community to share their truths, a safe space for all of us. The murmurings turned into conversations as people started to consider the idea. Faces softened, and shoulders that had tightened under the weight of suspicion relaxed a little. Maybe this gathering could be about understanding rather than division. Mr. Thompson's gaze lingered on Marcus, absorbing the sincerity radiating from him. A forum? He pondered aloud. That could work. It would take effort. Trust building is a slow process. Then let us take the first step, Marcus replied, feeling a flicker of resolve igniting within him. Let us plan it. Together. Suddenly, a voice rose above the rest. A middle-aged woman with a furrowed brow stepped forward, hesitating as she took in the scene. What if we don't know how to share? She said quietly. What if we can't find a way to open up? Then we'll find a way together, Lily chimed in. We can set ground rules, create a safe space to learn, to listen, Marcus added, finishing her thought. Instead of judging, we'll understand. As murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd, Marcus noticed a glimmer of something more, potential. He could feel something stirring. This could be a turning point for their community. Let us meet tomorrow to discuss logistics, Thompson finally said, a hint of resolve creeping back into his voice. Hope fluttered in Marcus's chest, but underlying it was still a palpable fear. Would this just be empty promises? Would the cycle of distrust rear its ugly head again? As the crowd began to disperse, the conversations swirling around him hinted at possibilities. Marcus locked eyes with Lily. Her wide smile tugged at his heart, a beacon of light breaking through the dark. Tomorrow's the start, she said, a sparkle in her eye. Who knows what it could lead to? He nodded, but doubt nagged at him, a constant companion. What if the community didn't embrace this chance? What if their fears overshadowed their hopes? Marcus took a deep breath, glancing back at the dispersing crowd. He had to believe. They had to believe. They had to create a narrative together that could unite hearts instead of divide. But as he turned to leave, one question lingered in his mind, urgent and demanding. Would they be ready to strip away their biases and truly listen, or was this moment just another fleeting opportunity slipping through their fingers? The dawn broke softly over the community the next day, its golden rays filtering through the trees, illuminating the local park where Marcus and Lily had arranged the open forum. Chairs were set in a circle, inviting in both familiar faces and those who had stayed hidden in the shadows. Marcus stood at the center, heart pounding, a mix of hope and anxiety swirling within him. We're all here to share, he reminded himself quietly. He glanced at Lily, who was busy arranging pamphlets with ground rules she had helped create: no interruptions, respect for all opinions, and the most important, listening before speaking. Her enthusiasm was contagious, pushing Marcus' fear to the back of his mind. As people began to gather, the mood shifted. Some greeted each other cautiously, with awkward smiles and stiff body language, while others hung back, observing with wary eyes. Marcus noticed Mr. Thompson arriving, looking serious but determined. Ready? He asked Marcus, as though they were about to face a challenge together. More than ever, Marcus replied, trying to sound more confident than he felt. The murmurs faded once Marcus stepped forward, calling for attention. Thank you, everyone, for being here. This is our chance not just to share our individual stories but to build understanding. He paused, looking into the sea of faces. I know trust won't come easy, but if we open our hearts today, we might just kindle a flame of hope. Lily beamed at him, and it gave him strength. Mr. Thompson took the first turn, his voice steady but his hands trembled slightly. I represent a community that has been hurt, and I admit, I was skeptical when Marcus suggested this meeting. We've seen too many promises unfulfilled, but I want to believe we can heal. The crowd murmured in agreement, and for the first time, Marcus noticed a glimmer of cautious optimism in their eyes. It was the beginning of connection. One by one, people spoke up. A soft-spoken man shared how he had lost everything due to rumors. A young woman offered a vulnerable perspective about growing up in fear, abandoning trust in others. Their stories painted a vivid picture of pain that shocked Marcus. He had no idea the extent of the hurt lurking beneath the surface. As each narrative unfolded, they revealed untold truths that made Marcus question his assumptions. He realized they were all battling their own demons, feeding the mistrust that divided them. Lily listened intently, her compassion palpable as she nodded. When it was her turn, she stood confidently. Sometimes I hear stories about my dad. I worry others will see him as his past. But what's really important is who he's trying to be now. We all change, right? Her eyes sparkled with sincerity. What if today is about embracing that change? A wave of quiet agreement rippled through the crowd. The room felt warmer, lighter, but just as hope blossomed, a familiar face emerged from the back. A figure Marcus had never thought would show. Lucy, who had accused him of car theft years ago, stepped into the circle. Her eyes carried a mix of fear and courage, and the air became electric with tension. "I need to speak," she announced, her voice quivering slightly. Everyone turned to her, curiosity blending with apprehension. Marcus held his breath. This was unexpected. Would her words send the crowd spiraling toward suspicion again, or could they bend toward understanding? "Dad," Lily whispered worriedly, clutching Marcus's arm. He looked down at her, seeing the worry etched on her young face, and he squeezed her hand reassuringly. There would be no more running from the truth. "Let us hear her out," he urged, and the crowd leaned forward, ready to listen. Lucy's gaze darted between faces, gathering strength from the silent support. What would she reveal? Would this be a moment of reconciliation or another blow to their fragile unity? Set against the backdrop of shared stories, the community stood on the precipice of something powerful. But as Lucy opened her mouth to speak, one question loomed large in Marcus's mind: would her truth help bridge their divides, or would it risk shredding the fragile bonds just beginning to form? Lucy took a deep breath, her eyes flickering with uncertainty. "I know that some of you might not welcome me here," she started, her voice trembling as she looked around the circle. "But I need to speak my truth." An audible hush fell over the group. Some people shifted in their seats, others held their breaths, desperate to hear what she had to say. Marcus felt his pulse quicken. He was poised between anger and curiosity, his heart racing for both Lucy and the crowd's response. "I was so angry when I accused you, Marcus," she confessed, her voice growing stronger. "My dad had been in prison, and I was terrified that someone like you, someone who seemed so put together, would hurt my family. I thought if I said something, maybe I could protect us." Her voice shook, and the words spilled out in a rush. "But I didn't protect us. I hurt you. And I've regretted it ever since." Marcus felt the weight of her confession hang in the air, the invisible tension pulling tighter. He wanted to see deep within her, find the girl buried under layers of fear and doubt. What had she endured to bring her here today? Lily watched, her eyes wide, processing Lucy's honesty. "Right after I said what I did, my life fell apart," Lucy continued, her resolve building. "I lost friends. No one wanted to be associated with the girl who accused an innocent man. I felt isolated, shame-tainted. When you were found innocent, I thought I couldn't face anyone again." A murmur of empathy swept through the crowd. People shared knowing glances, recognizing the torment simmering in their own hearts. They all had their moments they wished they could erase. Marcus took a step forward. "Lucy, I appreciate your honesty," he said, his voice steady. "We can't change the past, but we can learn from it. If we're going to heal as a community, we need to understand our mistakes, yours and mine. I never wanted to hurt anybody. That was never my intention," she said, tears glistening in her eyes. "But I should have come forward sooner. I should have been brave enough to confront my fear, confront you. I should have listened." "You know, everyone here has regrets," Mr. Thompson chimed in, his voice warm. "It's not just about blame, it's about understanding. We can all learn from Lucy's story today." Suddenly, the air shifted. It was as if the truth had broken down walls, tear by tear. The crowd began to open up. "I too have issues forgiving," said a woman in the back. "I once blamed someone for my struggles and lost a good friend." Marcus watched as vulnerability rippled through the group. More people shared their stories and calculations of guilt transformed into a collective sense of shared remorse. But as the dialogue continued, Marcus noticed Lucy shifting on her feet, preparing to speak again. Her resolve was a mixture of despair and hope, and he sensed the struggle within her. "Marcus, I can't change what I've done. But I can help change what happens next," she said, determination pouring from her. "I want to help rebuild trust. I want to lead community meetings, maybe talk to local kids about choices and consequences." The suggestion hung heavy in the air. Rebuilding. How would they respond? Would they take her up on it, or push her away yet again for her past? Everyone's gaze turned to Marcus, silently urging him to react. This was crucial. In this moment, what would he say? Would he accept her offer and the risk that accompanied it? As Marcus stood at the center of the circle, the weight of the moment pressed on him like an anvil. He glanced at Lily, her eyes sparkled with hope. Will this be the moment they embrace change? He thought as silence deepened. Suddenly, with all eyes fixed on him, he realized this could be the beginning of something more meaningful than he had imagined. What would he choose? The community hung on his next words. Did they have the strength to embrace the fragile promise of change, or would they let fear and doubt pull them apart once again? Marcus felt the heat of the spotlight, the weight of every gaze searing into him. He opened his mouth, hesitated, and clenched his fists. His own past echoed loudly in his mind, moments of hurt, betrayal, and the gnawing need to protect what little peace he had found. He started, struggling to find the words that could tip the fragile balance. Then, he took a breath, steadying himself. "I see a lot of pain in this room," he finally said, looking around at the faces etched with doubt and hope. "We all have burdens we carry. But Lucy, I think your offer to help is a step worth considering." The room exhaled collectively, a rush of emotion flowing like a tide. It wasn't an outright acceptance but an opening. A possibility. "I believe in honesty, and your honesty today speaks volumes. Healing starts when we confront our fear," he continued, feeling bolder. "But it can't just be you reaching out, Lucy. It takes all of us. We need to be willing to share and listen." The gathering seemed to lean into his words, sensing the shift. Around the circle, nods of agreement surfaced. Lily's smile was a beacon. "Yeah. We can create a safe space for these discussions. We can turn our mistakes into learning moments," she added, sparking excitement. "I would love to support that," Mr. Thompson chimed in, his voice thick with emotion. "I've seen countless situations where understanding bridged divides. We owe it to ourselves to try." But even as hope swirled, Marcus felt a twinge of fear creeping in. What if this was too big? What if they couldn't really change? He could sense Lucy's eyes on him, brimming with a mixture of courage and uncertainty. It made him want to protect her, the same way she sought to protect her family before. "Let us do it. Let us start a community group," a voice shouted from the back, a young man whose name Marcus couldn't remember. "We can talk about trust, fears, and choices without judgment." Suddenly, the ice shattered. More people jumped in, creating an avalanche of agreement. The ambience shifted from doubt to excitement, from accusation to discussion. They were all eager to turn the page, writing their stories anew. Lucy clasped her hands together, relief painting her features. "If we can at least try," she whispered, almost to herself. Marcus locked eyes with her. "Trying is what matters, Lucy. We build up scratched walls, one brick at a time." As ideas bounced around the group, he felt a spark of responsibility igniting within him. This conversation could lead somewhere healing, somewhere rising from their shared despair. Maybe we could use a space at the community center, Lily suggested, her voice rising with enthusiasm. Or invite local leaders to help guide our talks. People brainstormed, the air thick with plans and possibility. For the first time, they were not just individuals wrestling with guilt but a united front wanting to move forward. Laughter and optimism blended with the gravity of their pasts. But while excitement surged, there was an undercurrent of fear. What if this didn't work? What if old wounds tore open? As the meeting slowly wound down, a somber reality settled in. They would confront uncomfortable truths. Not everyone was ready to forgive, and not every voice would feel safe right away. As Lucy wrapped up her thoughts, she stood, steadying herself, emotion emanating from her heart. "Thank you all for this," she said, her voice wavering slightly. "I know the road ahead is tough, but we can walk it together." Marcus watched the group as they agreed to meet again, but deep down, a question lingered. Could they really manage the raw complexities of their past and transform it into a fertile ground for growth? Just as the conversation began to settle, a sudden commotion at the door caught everyone's attention. The heavy door swung open, and a tall figure filled the frame, eyes flashing with uncertainty. Am I too late?" the newcomer asked, stepping into the room. A hush fell once more. All eyes shifted once again, minds racing. What had they just welcomed into this fragile moment of change? The tension in the room thickened as the newcomer stepped fully into the light. He was clad in a simple jacket, hair slightly disheveled, but his presence had a weight that seemed to draw everyone's attention. Marcus felt the simmer of anticipation among the others, shifting in their seats, curiosity dancing on their faces. "Who are you?" someone finally asked, breaking the silence. It was a woman, her tone tinged with both cautious interest and disbelief. The newcomer swallowed hard, the nerves evident in the way he clutched the strap of his bag. "My name is David," he replied, his voice steady yet soft. "I just heard about this meeting. I needed to be here." As he scanned the room, Marcus could see the flicker of recognition wash over Lucy's face. It was brief but significant. She pointed him out gently. "David. I know you. You were at the town hall meeting last month, right? We talked about the community issues?" David nodded, his eyes darting from Lucy to Marcus and back. "Yes, I was." He paused, visibly trying to find the right words. "I've been struggling ever since I was wrongfully accused of stealing a car a few weeks ago. It shattered my reputation." Gasps filled the room. It was a reminder that many carried invisible weights. Marcus felt a tightening in his chest as David continued, "I lost my job, my friends, people I thought would stand by me vanished." Lucy reached out, compassion radiating from her. "David, I'm so sorry. That must have been incredibly painful." His expression shifted, gratitude mingling with vulnerability. "When I saw you all here, discussing healing and community, I felt compelled to come. I need to be part of something positive again, something that fights against this darkness." A wave of empathy washed over the room as people shifted to give him space. This was their chance to connect, to understand. Marcus took a deep breath, the possibilities swirling in his mind like a whirlpool. He saw an avenue of vulnerability, opening an opportunity for both David and the group to lean on one another through their shared struggles. "We all have stories of heartache," Marcus began, feeling buoyed by David's courage. "Sometimes it takes someone else stepping forward for us to embrace our own battles. Today is about seeking understanding. Through pain comes strength. We can share strategies, experiences." David's expression brightened slightly, relief blooming. "I want to share mine, if that would help. I need to know I am not alone in this." Lily chimed in, enthusiasm sparking in her tone. "That's the spirit. We can support each other, turn this group into a sanctuary. This is the foundation of healing, right?" As ideas bounced back and forth, there was laughter mixed with heartfelt stories. Conversations flowed effortlessly, a tapestry of hurt, resilience, and hope woven intricately in real time. Marcus felt a wave of gratitude crashing over him. They were no longer just attendees in a meeting, they were a family of shared experiences, but even as laughter filled the air, Marcus could sense the storm on the horizon. This was only the beginning. Each story shared also revealed vulnerabilities, and not everyone would be as receptive. David was animated, sharing how he had faced his accusations. But it's endings that create new beginnings, right? I want to remind everyone that we can reclaim our narratives. A sense of electricity pulsed through the room, but the fear of digging too deep lingered. Could they plunge into the depths of their feelings without losing their footing? As the discussion continued, David suddenly turned serious. In this group, can we promise honesty? It's tough to be vulnerable. Not everyone around us means well, but here we need to be clear about who we are and what we want to change. Marcus nodded. The commitment hung like a weighty promise in the air, one echoing in hearts eager for change. Just then, as they began to plot their future meetings, the heavy door opened once more. Another figure appeared, this one looking anxious and slightly out of breath. I heard what was happening in here. I need to be part of this too. It wasn't over, their journey had just expanded into something that felt both daunting and beautiful. Who else had yet to arrive, and what stories would unfold next? The newcomer stepped inside, her eyes wide, as if she had just raced through a storm to reach them. She seemed disheveled, but there was a fierce determination in her gait. Marcus could see the energy buzzing in response to her presence. Sorry I'm late. My name is Tasha, she said, her voice a blend of breathlessness and urgency. I overheard some folks talking about this meeting, and well, I felt like I needed to be here. David's gaze met Tasha's, and there was a flicker of recognition, something deeper connecting their experiences. Tasha, he whispered, the name hanging between them like a lifeline thrown into troubled waters. Tasha continued, I come from a completely different place than most people here. I recently got promoted to CEO of my company. It's supposed to be this huge milestone for me, but the truth is I'm drowning. The moment I walked into that office, I was met with disbelief. Many think I didn't earn the job, and the rumors about me being a token hire weigh heavily. The room fell silent. Everyone could feel the current of her words, raw and real. Marcus noticed Lucy leaning forward, her compassion radiating like warmth from a fire. People don't see what it took for me to get here, Tasha said, her throat tightening. They just see the color of my skin and automatically assume I'm not worthy. David, whose hands were clenched, responded softly, it sounds like you're facing a different kind of battle, but it's still a fight for your identity. Tasha nodded, a small smile breaking through the weight. Exactly. I never wanted to be seen as just my skin color. I've worked day and night to prove myself, but all I face is doubt. That shared connection sparked something within the group, and the energy shifted. Marcus sensed it. They were all confronting something invisible but immense: prejudice, judgment, despair. It was a tapestry of struggles woven tightly among them, and they were beginning to find a way to unravel it together. Let us face it, Marcus spoke up, we're all here because we've been pushed to the margins in some way. We understand what it means to be defined by our failures, perceived flaws, or outside forces. This group can be a powerful space for all of us to regain a part of ourselves. As conversations rolled on, moments of laughter combined with poignant silence flowed through the room. Tasha shared stories of navigating boardrooms, of moments where she was forced to prove her worth over and over again. David reflected on navigating a similar line of distrust after his accusations. Suddenly, amidst the emotional resonance, a voice piped up from the back. It was Sam, a quieter member of the group who had been listening intently. What if we started sharing not just our struggles, but our victories too? What about the small wins we rarely acknowledge? The brave steps we've taken? That sparked a ripple of murmurs, everyone nodding, and eventually sharing the tiny flickers of hope they had experienced amid their darkest times. Each story came alive, revealing a strength they all possessed but had failed to recognize. As the meeting drew longer, laughter echoed through the room, yet an undercurrent of tension remained. It teetered just beneath the surface, an urgency and desire to unveil even deeper truths. Just as Marcus felt the group's dedication solidify, the door swung open again. This time, an older man stood framed in the doorway, his silhouette marked by weariness. "I didn't want to interrupt, but I've been carrying something I need to share." With a sudden chill seeping into the air, Marcus's stomach turned in anticipation. What truth would this man unveil that would shake the foundation of their newly formed bond? Would another complicated layer be added to their interwoven stories of struggle and hope? The older man hesitated, taking a deep breath as though he were summoning the courage to reveal something deeply personal. His face, etched with lines of life and struggle, softened as his eyes scanned the group. "Thank you for letting me come in," he said, his voice steady but laced with a tremor of emotion. "I'm Henry. I've been in the fight longer than most of you. And it's been a brutal one." The room was quiet, everyone leaning in, feeling the weight of his words. "Some years ago, I faced a situation that turned my life upside down." He paused, the memories flooding back. "I was wrongfully accused of stealing a car. A simple drive turned into my worst nightmare." Gasps echoed softly. Marcus felt his heart racing. This wasn't just a story about injustice, it was a much deeper struggle. Henry pushed on. "It happened in a neighborhood where I was well known, where I thought I was safe. I was just stopping to help a friend whose car had broken down. Before I knew it, I was surrounded by police officers, handcuffed, and treated like a criminal." His voice faltered, and he took a moment to compose himself. "All I could think about was how I wasn't just fighting for myself. I had a family to protect, and that stigma, it follows you. It doesn't just go away." A wave of empathy washed over the room. Lucy clutched Tasha's hand tightly. Marcus could feel the tension rising as tears welled in Henry's eyes, a testament to the pain still raw after all this time. "I thought, after they cleared my name, everything would go back to normal. But it didn't. I found myself struggling to trust people, to trust institutions. My career took a hit. In a world that decides your worth in a split second." He trailed off, wiping a tear from his cheek. "People see what happened to you and label it as just another statistic," David interjected quietly. "They forget the people behind those numbers." Henry nodded, visibly grateful for the understanding. "Exactly. I lost a job opportunity, friends believed lies about me, and every glance in my direction felt weighty, judgmental." The group exchanged glances, fragments of their own struggles reflected in each other's faces. It was clear, each of them had been labeled at some point. "When I left that ordeal behind, I realized I had a choice to either keep living in fear or to fight back and reclaim my narrative. I chose to advocate for social justice, for those who feel voiceless, just as I once did." The atmosphere shifted again, a ripple of newfound resolve spreading among them. Henry's revelation illuminated paths they could take together, a chance to stand as a collective force against the odds that threatened to keep them down. "Your fight is our fight, too," Marcus said, his voice steady. "Together, we can rewrite those narratives." Just then, a flicker of energy surged through the room as someone knocked on the door again. Before anyone could react, it swung open, revealing a young woman with dark hair, her expression fierce and filled with urgency. "I heard about this meeting, and I think I have something important to share." The atmosphere thickened with anticipation. What new revelation could possibly change the course of their gathering? Would it bring them closer, or would it fracture the fragile bond they had just begun to form? The young woman stepped inside the room, an air of determination surrounding her. "My name is Christina," she began, her voice steady yet filled with emotion. "I've been listening from outside, and I felt compelled to join this conversation. I'm here because I'm a survivor of wrongful accusation too." Marcus felt his heart skip a beat. Another story. Another layer of pain. The group fell silent, hanging on her every word. I was accused of a crime I didn't commit, one that nearly destroyed my life, she shared, her eyes burning with intensity. It's been 2 years since my name was cleared, but the shadows of those days still linger. I fight every day against the whispers that follow me. The room felt electric. Christina's vulnerability resonated deeply, causing heads to nod and hearts to open. People shifted forward, ready to embrace yet another shared struggle. I spent months battling my own demons, she continued. The judgment, the stares, it nearly broke me. I began to wonder if I really was who everyone said I was. But through that darkness, I found my voice and my purpose. Lily leaned closer to her father, her eyes wide with recognition. They could see the endurance in Christina's tenacity. The way her breaths came deep and measured, as if each word was not just a story, but a battle cry. I've dedicated myself to helping others who faced what I did, Christina explained. I became an advocate for wrongful accusation victims. I wanted to ensure no one felt alone in that fight again. Her conviction imbued the air with a palpable hope. And that's why we're here, right? Marcus interjected, feeling a lump in his throat. He looked around the room, meeting each gaze and solidifying the urgency of their union. Every story shared connects us, empowers us. We're not just survivors of our circumstances, we're warriors in this together. The faces around him began to shine with understanding, fists would clench, and shoulders squared. From the youngest timid soul to the most seasoned fighter, they could feel the strength growing within the room. Christina caught Marcus's eye, her gaze fierce. Let us create an organization, something that will provide support, counseling, resources for people wrongfully accused. Let us not just talk, but take action. Yes. David exclaimed, ignited by the idea, let us build a safe haven, a place where voices can be heard and stories can ignite change. This is the moment. Marcus shouted, heart racing. If we stand together and fight for each other, we can change lives. We need to take the momentum of today and turn this gathering into a meaningful force. A real community. A wave of energy surged through the room. Each person felt the fire of possibility sparking within their hearts, shifting from despair to solidarity. As conversations erupted into ideas and plans, Marcus glanced over at Lily. Her eyes sparkled, reflecting every ounce of hope that had blossomed in that room. Each word spoken was a step into a new world, a world where understanding broke through biases, where the past could guide them, but not define them. We'll meet regularly, develop programs, and reach out to others who need to know they're not alone, Lily suggested boldly, pulling together the threads of their ambitions. With every nod and smile exchanged, the group solidified their commitment to each other and the change they could foster together. They worked on logistics, forming committees and embracing each idea as crucial fabric in the tapestry they were weaving. As the meeting wrapped up, Marcus felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude and pride. They had transformed from individuals haunted by whispers of judgment into a family bound by shared pain and hope. Let us take our stories out there, he urged, and let us lift those still struggling. We won't be silenced, we'll find our strength in connection. As they all gathered together for a photograph, a vibrant tapestry of diverse faces, filled with promise, the energy was infectious. With that one snapshot, they captured not just a moment, but the potential for a movement. Can you feel it? Lily whispered to her father, her smile radiant. He nodded, heart bursting with pride. This is just the beginning. This moment of clarity forged not just communal strength, but a universal resilience. Together, they would rise, and now, you must rise with them. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that could inspire change. Click that like button now to feed the algorithm and ensure more powerful narratives reach those who need them. Comment below your thoughts and feelings about this ending, your real-life connections, and share your own stories. And remember, share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to experience this transformation. You need to support the channel. Don't wait not even one more second to join this community of growth.